Hey guys, I'm Melissa.
I'm Patty.
And we are El Efecto Podcast. Welcome back, guys. Episode 67. First episode of 2025.
Bruh.
And I can't believe it's the second week of 2025.
Yeah.
Because of all the shit that's been going on, guys.
No, literally.
So crazy. It's just insane. But if you're in the LA area, like, you know what's been going on, even if you're not in the LA area. Like, if you're like, yeah,
the world
like
knows.
it's so crazy, guys. It's so sad. It truly is just so sad. I even just, on our drive here to the studio, guys, Patty made a quick call out on that. Like, it's so crazy how last week, like, this street was so much different than what it is right now. It was just like busy. But yeah, guys, if you're been all over, like, you know what's been going on here. The LA fires, Palisades, Altadena, I think Pasadena, like, right? Like, it's
I feel like they just kept popping up everywhere.
Yeah.
But the Palisades and Altadena fires were like the main ones, and the other ones were popping up. But it's been a crazy start to 2025. It literally is a what the fuck year. If you know, you know, because I saw this on TikTok, the last year that started on a Wednesday, WTF, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, was 2020. And what happened in January of 2020? Kobe died. And then we had COVID that year. So people were like, oh, this is another what the fuck year. Like, what's going to happen? And literally, our city's on fire.
Yeah.
And it's so scary. And like, we've been in LA our whole lives, and like, we've experienced like fires happening like in these areas, but not to this extent.
Yeah, definitely
like
not.
The Palisades are gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah.
I remember that day, I think it was that Tuesday, when I got home from Soul Cycle, my cousin was like, Pali High is on fire. That hit me because, like, I grew up on the west side. So, like, my brother, we were in LAUSD. My brother played baseball, and we would play against Pali High. And my brother's, one of his teammates had a little brother, and we would play, like, in the field, like, behind the bleachers. And it was just, like, trees everywhere. So just thinking, like, damn, like, being there, driving through there when we were little,
literally driving through there. Like, it's so crazy.
It's so sad. And just all the people.
Yeah, all the people who have lost their
gone.
homes, like, or like literally everything. And people have died. Like, it's
oh my
like,
God. There was a story of this dad who, I think he was an amputee because of diabetes. I hope I'm not mixing stories. And he had 2 sons, but one, I think, had cerebral palsy, and that's one that was at home with him. And the other son was out, or it was just them. And they weren't able to get out.
Oh my God.
Bitch, I was bawling.
Yeah. And I see that there's still, like, so many bodies missing. Like, people are, like, you know, so many people are still missing. Like, it's just so crazy. And, like, just, how bad it got, how, you know, obviously the firefighters and just the lack of resources, like, how long it took to even contain. And I think it's still like going,
it's still not contained.
Like, and then with these winds, like, as you all know, like, that, it's just so crazy.
And the crazier part is that there are still people out there that are setting these fires off. Like, what is your problem? Literally, there was someone tried to start a fire at SoFi. They did start a fire at SoFi in the parking lot. But thankfully, I saw this on TikTok, this woman was across the street, and she was recording, and she was like, y'all, look. She immediately called 911, and she was like, I literally just hung up, and they were already there. They put it out. And, of course, I went to the comment section. And everyone's like, oh, hell no. Thank God you were there. They're like, I was like, we need our stadium. Nothing's going to stop me from seeing SZA in May. I was like, no, for real. But, like, if you see someone, like, trying to start a fire, like,
no,
stop them. Yeah. Like, I don't give a fuck. Stop them, because what is your problem?
Yeah. Like, it's like, why? Literally, why? I know after Patty told me that story, it came up on my For You page afterwards, and I saw it. I was like, what? And right after that, there's a few others. I saw someone, like, was walking by, and he, like, stopped it with a water bottle. He's like, dude, like, what is your problem? Like, It's just so crazy. Like, it's like, and all of those people taking advantage of people evacuating and, like, you know, looting. Like, what? Like, it's just
jail. All of you, jail. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Yeah. Like, it's just a mix of emotions. Yeah. Like, obviously I'm sad. I was scared. I'm still scared. But that first day, like, when I went out and I was like, yeah, like the smoke, like we're not even near to the fires, but the smell of smoke in the air, and it looked like I was driving through
crazy,
like the end of the world. Yeah, I felt like I was
literally ashes everywhere.
My car, literally, I washed my car on Sunday, Tuesday covered in ash, and when I was driving, literally looked like it was snowing.
It's just so crazy. And then I even had my window open, guys, and I have like a Sprint or whatever it's called. Inside my room, there was ashes from like the wind. I had to like take everything off, and like it was like the fact that there was ashes in the room, and I literally woke up because of like the smell was like, oh my god, like what is happening?
To keep our windows closed and use AC if you have AC.
Yeah, like, and it's like there was literally ashes, and it was like that first day. So obviously afterwards, like, oh my god, I have to close the windows. And at the same time, I'm like, if I close these windows, everything's already in here. Yeah. I was doing like, it was just crazy.
And there's for sure gonna be like repercussions down the line, because I was looking at like when 9/11 happened and all that stuff, like people in like. And I don't know what the what's it called? The diameter or the perimeter, how many miles it impacted people, but like people nearby had like health complications, and that was only a certain amount of acres. Like the amount of acres that have burnt down, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like all these old homes are built in like the 20s and all this stuff. And I keep bringing this up, and I'm like, it's one sad, because it's literally history that's gone, like people's legacies, people, like homes that they were going to pass on to their children, like generational wealth, like gone. But the other thing with the old houses is they were made from toxic chemicals that we're all breathing in the air. Yeah. So us being outside, it's in the air, we're breathing it, it's in our lungs already, it's like on us, it's just crazy. We're gonna turn into mutants in like 30 years because of this.
Literally. No, but yeah, it's so crazy. It's so sad. Like, I feel like people were saying, like, at least one person knows someone who's been impacted, and like, literally, like, it's like, I know, like, for work, like, I work, you know, in the Valley, and there's so many coworkers, so many people who have lost like their homes, like luckily within our organization, and not even luckily, that's still sad, but it's just crazy to hear, like, there, you know, it wasn't too many, but it was still a few. Like, that's just insane. And yeah, it's so sad. It's so sad, but it's also so beautiful how everyone came together. Like, I truly was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, it was overwhelming.
Like, I knew people were gonna help, but I didn't expect everyone to help.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if that sounds bad or whatnot, but because I feel like when things happen, you know, there are those people that are always there helping. But this was like another level. And since we're talking about this, I just want to give her her flowers. Milani.
Yeah, I literally wanted to bring her up.
Literally, if you even have TikTok, you know who she is, because she is ride or die for LA. Like,
literally,
she already like,
she always advocates, like, always,
like, clock it, go back to her old Instagram posts, like, and she be reposting her old stuff, and
everything.
She's about that life.
Yeah,
she literally was doing deliveries, getting donations.
She still is, like,
like,
so crazy.
She, like, I literally DM'd her too, and I was on, like, everything that I have her on, and I'm like, girl, like, Diosito te va a bendecir like 20 times more, because
if you're watching this, like, no, literally,
we appreciate you. Thank you for what you're doing for our city.
So crazy. Like, guys, no, literally, go follow her small business, everything.
She's Latina, like, own crazy business.
Like, oh no, but yeah, guys, like, seeing everyone come together, like, you know, and one, like, she inspired me. It's like, I felt so helpless. I'm like, I can't give funds, I can't give like everything, you know. So it's like, what can I do? And I'm like, okay, let's start gathering like what we can, looking into several organizations. I saw one that had come up because I was telling Patty I felt overwhelmed because I've just started getting into, that's always been a goal of mine to volunteer, but we recently just started like, okay, the toy drive and stuff. I don't know much about organizations. There was so much out there. I'm like, where do I go? What are these, like, how? Like, I just need someone to I guess I need someone to tell me, like, this is what we need. This is where you're going to go. This is the organization you're going to drop it off, whatnot. And then Think Watts Foundation. I've been seeing them for some time, but I saw them come up on my Instagram, and I saw that. I was like, wait, okay, this might be the opportunity, because all it said is we're looking for volunteers. If you're open, DM us and we'll give you more details. And it was more about like just assembling stuff. I was like, okay, this is kind of what I need. And then from there you would distribute. I was like, that's perfect, because I just need to know where to go. But yeah, so we did that, and the day before, like, yeah, that was on a Saturday, but on that Friday, we just gathered some stuff from our family, our friends. And, again, it's like, how can we help? Like, these people have lost it all, and it's like, okay, like, I was just like, do we have, I don't know, like, friends, family, like, clothes, shoes, whatever we truly have that, whether, it's in gently used. And then some of our family donated, some of our friends, Timor, Daniela, brand new blankets, like, so much, like, yeah. And we were just gathering that, and that next day, Patty and I volunteered, and
overwhelming. I think Melly,
so overwhelming.
First of all, also need to give this bitch her flowers, because I was over here like, and I'm over here crying and shit, because I'm like, bitch,
there's so
much.
I
literally cannot donate. Like, I can't donate shit, like, what, like, monetary donations.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, I feel like I need to do so. I felt so guilty.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, literally, what do I do?
And I'm like, if I buy water stuff, I can't still buy, like, to the amount that people need. Yeah. So I'm like, how? Like, how do I do this?
That's why I was like, I'm not, how are people doing this? Like, again, very overwhelmed. But then Melly in our cousin group chat was like, hey, guys, like, I'm going to volunteer with this. And literally I was like, oh, my God. I was like, I'm down. I was like, I'm down. And I had just cleaned out my closet. And I had forgotten that I had 2 big bags left. But I was so sad, because I told Melly, I was like, bitch, I was like, I just donated all my clothes. Like, oh my God, that would have been perfect. But then Amanda reminded me, bitch, you still have 2 bags. And I was like, oh my God. So whatever, Melly picks me up in her dad's truck.
We needed my dad's truck.
When I got in the truck, I wanted to cry, because I was like, just in like a couple hours, this, like, we got donations. You said that, like, our cousins donated, like, brand new shit. Carlos from his small business,
like everything. And yeah, like, guys, I had taken my car with me on that Friday. My car is small. I got a little Toyota Corolla. When I tell you it was packed, I was like, Dad, I'm gonna need your truck tomorrow. I told Patty, I was like, I'm taking my dad's truck, because there is no way. But yeah, no, like, it's, and I felt, I when Patty told me, she's like, okay, I'm down. I was like, thank God, because I was like, okay, if I go do it, like, definitely. But I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna do this alone. But I was like, it's fine. And then one of our friends too, Lorena, she had texted me too. She's like, hey, like, like, are you volunteering? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it here if you guys want to go. And then she's like, actually, yeah, like, I've been looking. She's like, let me DM them. And then I didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And then we got there, and I was like, oh, she's here.
I got so excited.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, like, again, that Think Watts Foundation, like, huge shout out to them. They had quite a few volunteers, a lot of people donating.
Dude, and they had, like, I guess, sponsors. They partnered with actual, like, bigger companies, and like Bye Bye Baby, like, they had truckloads, like, dropping things off, food and whatnot. So literally we were a donation destination, and to be honest, we literally were just there collecting, unloading trucks, and then once we got everything, we're like, okay, now
drop off here.
We sorted through everything,
guys.
And I was in, like, the book section, like, that caught my eye, and I was like, and I saw, like, books for kids and all this stuff. Immediately everyone's like, what are we doing? How do we organize this? And I was like, let's organize by age. Boom, 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 boom. We finish, and then we start talking to, like, the other people there, like, in my area. And one of the girls, she's like, yeah, like, my friend, like, they lost everything. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, guys.
Shayla.
No, but yeah, even in that moment, I was like, oh my God, like it was just crazy. All the people that were coming by to drop off donations. And like Patty said, like it's like companies and then just there. I didn't realize. I was like, yeah, there was definitely a lot, but there's about 150 volunteers. I was like, what? Yeah. Like I was like, damn. And it truly like took that many people from the amount of donations to like sort through everything. Yep. Like it was.
I feel like we just kept getting donations so crazy. And donations and donations.
Yeah. And then they had like their own kind of group of volunteers. Like they were the ones calling like, you know, the evacuee shelters, like the dream centers, the YMCAs. And I think even like they had personal like families or people reaching out to them through Instagram. I'm not sure. And then that's how they would be like, okay, we need a family for this. Like we need baby stuff or whatever they would call it. And then designate like a group where they like, all of you, we need a bigger truck. Like you're going here. Yeah. And we got to go to the LA. The first drop off
we went to the Westwood Salvation Army.
Yes. The first one was the Westwood Salvation Army. Guys, the amount of stuff, like it was just crazy.
So much stuff.
Oh my God.
Okay, so guys, let me tell this story because I literally was laughing for like ever about this situation. So there were like 6 cars that pulled up to the Salvation Army, and of course, what's it called? It's like an apartment complex. Yeah, and we had to go upstairs, and it was in a apartment. So whatever, we're going and we're putting all the stuff in there, like everything. So we're okay. Everyone's helping. There's so many of us. We go, and then we're like, yay! Like okay, good job, guys. Like we got to go back to BMO for the next one. And then there's this lady, her and her husband have their car. She's running. They had her to close the gate for the Salvation Army, but thankfully one of the volunteers was inside still, and she was like, they took my car seat.
When she said that, they're like, the car seat. We're like, oh my God.
All of us just started laughing because we were like, and I, like sarcastically, I was like, damn, they take the baby too.
I know.
And Lorena, she started
and then everyone was like, take everything. So they took everything.
Yeah, and then in my head I was like, was it not like strapped in?
I know.
Like did that person unstrap
they're like,
it
okay,
and take it? Like it was. I think we all needed like a laugh, so we were dying. Like that literally in the car, funny. I was like, bitch, a car seat?
He's like, and the way she came, like running my car seat.
And then they literally they like passed it over. Yeah. Crisis averted.
But that was the first stop, and then the second spot was the LA Dream Center. Guys, that was like just crazy.
There was I'm laughing because of that fucking idiot that tried to cut people off, and then she had to reverse
down a hill, guys. Oh my God.
No, it was overwhelming. Like thousands. There were probably like a couple thousand people there. It was
insane.
And it literally was just like 2 lanes. One lane was to pick up and one lane was to donate. And it was like immediate. As things were going in, they were going out. And it was just funny because for this donation, we actually did have a car seat that we donated.
Oh, yeah.
So like the joke just kept going. It was just so funny. But did you...
Oh, guys.
We're getting there. So okay, let's backtrack a bit. So
the LA Dream Center.
So those are the 2 locations, but honestly it felt so good just to be there and help. Like we both said, we're like, I feel a lot better because I feel like I'm actually doing something. And it was fun. Like just go. Oh, and people. Okay, PSA: if you're donating things, do not donate. This is not a trash. Guys. Do not donate your used lingerie.
We literally saw.
It was like it literally looked like, you know, like the wraps that boxers wear.
Like, around, oh my God.
Like it was red leather, and it literally just barely had the little lace thing. It was like, why?
No. Why? And it's like, guys, and then I know this is like all over Instagram. People are starting to put that because a lot of donation centers are no longer taking clothes because it's an overwhelming amount of like just donations and clothing. But because of that, it's like they're saying that they're finding clothes that it's like super like there's blood stains on it, or like it's used, or it's literally like trash. Yeah. So it's like
it's because it's the easiest thing to do, like just to clean it out. But
put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, like this isn't for you to throw your shit away. Like, this is going to people to, like, restart their lives, essentially.
Yeah.
So, backtracking a little bit. So, before we even did the first drop-off, we're there, whatever, and one of our friends, Valeria, shout out Valeria, she was volunteering. Stop.
Because I literally was thinking about that. I was like, fuck, we're going to have to backtrack so we can speak to that.
Okay. So she was volunteering with this church in Lawndale, I believe, and they had so many things, and they had donated to, they were donating to different places. And because we did our toy drive, she reached out to me and Dolly, and she was asking, like, oh, do you guys have a contact for the Lennox Fire Department? For the Lennox Fire Department. And I was like, oh, yeah, ask for so-and-so, whatever. So she's like, great, just talk to so-and-so. Like, we're going to drop things off in the morning. Perfect, great, love it. So she said that to me early in the morning before we even left. Maybe even the night before. So then maybe like around 10, 11 a.m., she texted me. She's like, just got back from the fire station. Like, they were so grateful. Like, they haven't gotten anything. Like, literally nothing. So they were like so grateful and like thank you so much for like bringing things, because no one has brought anything. So in my head, because Melly was doing something else, and I was like, bitch. So I told her what Val said, and I was like, should we go like donate things? And she was like, yeah, like we can even take them pizza like for dinner or whatever. I was like, cool. And I was like, oh, let's make a post on our stories so that our friends can repost it, and like our friends can
like go take donate. Some stuff.
And also, you had mentioned that another friend of ours went to another
station,
the Inglewood station.
Yep.
Off of Crenshaw, and she took them pizzas, and they like, also said they haven't gotten anything. So we're like, okay, we'll include them also. So whatever, don't think anything of it. Make it, post it. I tag maybe like 15 of our friends, and we text them like, we just tagged you, can just repost. Put it away. That's that. We go about our day. We've
like literally, guys, hours later.
Yeah, like that was like 10:30 a.m. I don't think we finished until like 4ish.
Yeah.
And then after LA Dream Center, they were no longer taking clothes, so we went to another place in downtown, dropped off the clothes, and then we're like, cool, let's go
get them the pizza.
And we're like, logistically, okay, we're gonna go to Little Caesars. It's on the way. Cool. So we get to Little Caesars and we order. So this is because when I had this epiphany.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we'll do like 4 pizzas. We'll each get 2 and 2. And then they have this combo where it's like the crazy bread and a 2-liter soda. So Melly goes, oh, we'll just get that. I was like, perfect. So we order. Melly orders. I order. Then we're waiting. And I'm like, just whatever. Like, just... And bitch, it's been a long day.
We're
tired.
Yeah.
Like, my face is
it was a long day.
Our hands are all dry and shit. And Melly's just like on her phone like this. And then Melly goes, bitch. And she goes, oh my God. And I go, what?
Guys, I'm literally scrolling like through our podcast feed, like, El Efecto podcast Instagram, and I'm like catching up, and then I see
Efecto.podcast
period, and then I see a comment, and it said, yeah, like these girls posted it and blah blah blah, and then I'm like, wait, what? So then I click on the post, and I was like, oh my God, because we were on that Lennox post. I didn't even know that existed.
I didn't know like that was an Instagram.
Yeah, like I know it, like we have Eye on Inglewood and stuff, but I didn't know like Lennox post. I'm like, okay, makes sense, whatever. But I go on that and I'm like, and I'm looking at like that like comment thread, and I was like, holy shit. And it's like people like, no, like we're checking here, checking calling in here and calling in there, like they don't need it, or do they truly need, like what do they need, like they should have double checked, whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I see this girl, she was like, yeah, like we've messaged you guys, but they're not responding. I'm like, no, you haven't. Like with like literally I was like, bitch, like what the fuck are you talking about?
Melly was like, and there were no messages.
Yeah, there was literally no messages. And then I'm like, but one, like, shout out to her because she was like doing her, I guess her homework and checking. That's a better word. And checking. So whatever, we're like, oh my God. And then guys, we start seeing it. It's like literally everywhere.
And like, it was
everywhere.
So so many people were liking it.
Yeah.
And that the thing is, on the drive to Little Caesars, I was like, oh my God, like this person, people were screenshotting
And
like our friends and reposting it. We're like, oh my God. Like,
yeah.
One of my friends was like, oh my God, like, I'm on my way to Costco right now. I'm going to get some
So we were like, oh my God, yeah, like, oh awesome. Like, we love it. So much.
And again, we know them. So we're like, whatever. So we're like, oh,
yeah. So once we see that, once I look through their account and I see how many followers, how many people have liked it, and then everyone commenting down, I was like, oh my God.
I literally told Melly, I was like, the captain's gonna be pissed.
I know. I was like, oh my God. So at this point, we were already buying the pizzas. We were already on our way to them. So I was like, oh, I was so nervous. We were so nervous.
It was like, imagine
there's a line. I was like, oh my God.
Shit.
So we pull up. And then we see, girl with like the
our
friend,
I guess. Oh, it's our friend.
Yeah,
it's our friend. Thank God.
Yeah.
And literally, I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I was like, we're assuming we're like that's probably the girl who commented.
Yeah.
So we're just there, and I literally got to get out the truck, and I'm like, Melly, hurry, because I was like, I'm not walking, and literally we're walking. You know that sound that's like, hey, how y'all doing?
We're literally what the pizza's like,
and literally. And I was just saying his name, Kevin, who is one of the firemen. He looks at us and he's just, hey. And he starts laughing. And he's like, was this you?
And we like, turn around, guys. And we also like saw everything. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like we look and we're like, first of all, shout out to our friends. Like,
literally.
Lennox, Inglewood. For
everyone.
Showing up and showing out.
Yes.
Because wow,
it was insane.
Our jaws dropped.
Insane.
We were like
we literally, guys, we couldn't believe it. We kept laughing because of just nerves, but also we were like, there's no way.
Yeah,
like we never thought.
Yeah, because we're like, no
ever.
One, first of all, we don't even get this attention on our
I know, like, well, come on.
Shit. So we were like, okay, nothing's gonna happen. Like a few people will go.
Like it's like, yes, we were seeing like reposts and reshares, but we
like,
just
who's actually
really didn't think. Yeah. And then we see that, we're like, oh my God. And then that's where her name, Natalie, she was like, are you guys from the podcast? I was like, yeah. And then she was like, oh, like I messaged you guys. I was like, no, like you didn't. And then one of the firefighters comes out
and he's like, yeah, I tried messaging. He's like, are you guys Efecto the podcast?
Yeah.
We're like, yeah.
He's like, I tried messaging you guys like to take it down. I was like, what? And then that's when someone said we had a hidden.
Oh, they're like, Natalie was like, oh, they're in your private. We go to our private messages,
guys,
hundreds.
I was like,
Melly was like overstimulated, and mind you, through all this, like people, the captain had come out, we're talking, explaining everything. Captain's like, was this you guys? And we're like, well, I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't be sorry. He was like, honestly, I have no words. Like, I'm just overwhelmed with like the love and support. Like, we did not expect
the community
this at all.
And guys, not just their station, the other Inglewood fire station that like we had put on there, and just Inglewood fire stations around. Like it was just they were going crazy.
In. So this whole time we're like talking, we keep apologizing, blah blah blah. We're like, we brought you dinner, and they're like, thank you. But Melly has all the messages, and then at this point we were like, okay, like
how can we?
They're
help?
like, we don't have. Like they're like, we're not gonna use all of it. Like a lot of it we will, but he was like, we need to distribute it. He's like, we could do it. And it was like, no, we can do it. Like, we have the truck, might as well do it now. So then they sent it to another one. So we're loading the truck, and then Melly, I was like, Mel, you answer. So she's just messaging people like.
I'm trying to get the post down, like, and doing updates to our like account. We're like, update, like, please don't, like, you know.
We're like loading the truck, but mind you, as this whole time, as we're like talking to the firemen, and as like we start to feel a little better, a car pulls up, and we're like,
and then another,
and
then another. And then people walking.
And then we're loading the truck, and people are getting there, and we're like in the truck.
Yeah, we're like, here, thank you so much.
They're even helping us put it in the truck. They kept a lot. They kept a lot of waters, the hydration stuff, the snacks that they wanted. They kept, and we were just talking to the other firemen, because they're on a rotation right now. So like we knew 2 of them that were there, but the other ones, they were from other stations. So we were just telling them, they're like, wow. They're like, we were not, wow. Yeah. So we're like, cool. We fixed the problem, whatever. So we're leaving. We go to another fire station nearby. We drop it off there. Cool. The next day,
we get a picture, still more donations, and then we see it on Ion Inglewood, and it also made it to Koreatown with millions of followers.
So that was on Saturday.
The day of.
So
you're right.
The day of. So that was the thing. Natalie had told us that. So when we were talking to Natalie, she was like, wait, who's from the podcast? Like, we both are, da, da, da. She was like, yeah. She was like, and there's this like K-Town Instagram with millions of followers that reposted it. And we were like,
yeah, guys.
So it got out there. People were, again, because people want to help and they don't know, like, probably like us, like, what can we do? And they're like, oh, this is in my backyard. Like, I can just go and drop something off. Let me do it.
And like, guys, literally, like, let me just say, like, your donations, like, thank you guys again. Thank you. They were so appreciative. They had, like Patty said, had no words. And it's like the other station we took it to, like, they literally, like, they took it to the main center. Like, I know they were transporting, and even that next day, like, they truly said, like, we got so much good distribution. Like, they also distributed that. So it's just like, it was just insane.
It all ended up where it needed to go, and they were so grateful. But they literally were just shocked because in all the years that they've been there, they've never once ever felt the love and the support from the community. I guess because not that they never needed it, but like they've never experienced it. And jokingly, Kevin was like, well, now I know who to call if I'm gonna throw a party and I need people to come through. And I was like, we got you. I'll make the post. But yeah, it was
crazy.
And I think it just says a lot about, like, because Lennox is predominantly Latino. I was like, I think it just says a lot about Latino communities. Like, because when you think about, like, when something bad happens, if there's a tragedy, usually what they do, they'll cook for you. They bring food. Like, don't worry about
water, drinks, like, whatever
like,
it is.
all of that. It's just, like, in our nature. So I feel like because that's, like, something easy, comfortable, like, everyone just showed up.
Yeah, guys. Like, we literally, I'm telling you, the amount of times we looked at each other just with our, like, we were just jaws dropped and laughing, like, because we just couldn't believe it. Like, we literally could not believe it.
We kept apologizing. We're like, we're sorry. And the captain was like, do not apologize.
Like,
he was like, I'm not upset. He was like, I just, like, I'm just in shock.
So overwhelmed. And again, it just shows, like, and you know how much, you know, all of us, just how we work together. And that's a beautiful thing of, yes, it's a disaster, but just to see that still exists, that can still happen. And a lot of people within our age, our generation, and, you know, even, like, I know I was explaining it to, like, the older my parents, and then I explained it to my grandma too. They were like, what? Like, it was just, they didn't understand
when I told my mom, she was like, oh, okay. Like,
we got to Patty's house and I was like, Nino, we were like,
my dad was laughing, and then I told my dad again, I was like, they got more. My dad was like, oh shit. He was like, hey, people want to help.
And then it was truly, like, again, to Patty, it's like, this is what just people are like, okay, how can we do it? Just like us, it's like, how can we help? And, you know, this is what we can do. But yeah, guys, but all of that to say, I hope, you know, everyone, like, you're just hanging in there, and, you know, there's so much out there. There's so many resources if you've been affected, and, you know, if, I don't know, let us know if there's additional things that we can share.
Yeah, I posted a TikTok about this because there's this website called Benable, and I've been using it lately. And I was like, okay, how can I actually utilize this? And because I've been seeing nonstop, like, resources, donation center, how to volunteer, and all that stuff, I repost everything on Instagram.
And your list, you have compiled so much, so guys, go check that out. Like,
and I literally just put it on there, so it's literally linked in my link tree. I could link it in like our story or whatever. And if you guys have any more, because the donations and like, it's still going, and the wins, I think Melly mentioned earlier, like, it's supposed to pick up again. So hopefully.
And guys, this is ongoing. Like, these people are going to need help, not just now. Like, this is going to be
They're literally starting over.
Like, it's going to be for some time. But, with that, we hope everyone's okay.
I do want to say, with everything going on, like, also, yes, I'm grateful everyone's helping, but also take time for yourself to recharge because it's a lot, and these are not the best conditions for us to be outside. So just make sure you're also taking care of it, fueling yourself, hydrating. Like, if you are out, you have to be outside, you come inside, like, immediately, like, putting your clothes away, washing your hair before you get into your bed, like, just little things like that, just to take care of yourself. And if you're outside, like, wear a mask. But yeah, thank you again, guys, for all the support.
So crazy.
And
we'll see you in next week's episode.
Bye.
Bye.